And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly, truly fantastic day today. Welcome back to Fanboy Fridays. Fanboys.
If I'm not mistaken, it was
Now you see something? Now you see now. You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
I
See what I'm saying?
I thought.
No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now, you know that, don't you?
Yeah,
You know you done fucked up, don't you?
Hey, fanboy, don't forget, we hope your day is going terrible as well. So let's get into this. LeBron James will never, ever be respected like Michael Jordan. As a matter of fact, LeBron James will never be respected like most of the great players. He will never have that same kind of respect. Whether you're talking about Kareem, Kobe, Magic, Bird, Wilt, Tim Duncan, Hakeem, anybody who you may have in your top 10. LeBron James is not going to get that kind of respect. But since fanboys and mainstream media want to compare him to Michael Jordan, we are going to do that. And he will never come close to the respect that Michael Jordan gets. And this is because LeBron James has tried to buy his respect. He's tried to demand his respect. But respect is earned. Whatever field you may be in, again, maybe you're in computers, maybe you're into engineering, maybe you could be whatever it is. But, if you meet a person and they get, and they're labeled, oh, well, this is a well-respected person in that field. That person gets that title because, number one, they've probably been in that field for years. And number two, because, they've done respectable things in that field. People feel like they've people feel like they have contributed something meaningful to the field. And people feel like that this person has went about their work with integrity to that field. I would say, in basketball, for instance, fundamentals to me is part of having integrity for the game. Right? I mean, if you're going to be a so-called superstar, to me, fundamentals is part of having integrity for the game. Because if you can't not only take the time to learn the basics of the game, but, make sure that you are maintaining that throughout your career, to me, that is a blatant disrespect for the game. And I talked a little bit about this in another video. I don't know what the deal is with these refs today. I don't know if they have been instructed to, hey, well, these players, they grew up, they didn't really learn the fundamentals. So, don't call traveling, don't call double dribble, don't call these kind of things on these guys because they just don't know any better. I don't know if this was the instructions of the refs. I don't know if these refs are just so terrible that they can't catch they don't catch these things. I'm not sure what the deal is, but regardless of the refs, the players themselves should have enough pride to want to make sure that they are fundamentally sound. To me, this is part of the standards of basketball. This is part of, well, first of all, I think this is a part of the reason why the younger generation wants to disrespect the older players so much, because it's a way to not only try to prop up their own generation of players by saying, look how skilled we are, look how this we are. But it's also a way to kind of diminish what was. And part of what was is being fundamentally sound. So yeah, to me, if you are not fundamentally sound, like LeBron James, and LeBron James has spread this culture of not being fundamentally sound throughout the NBA, to me, that's part of having integrity for the game, and you're lacking in that. Another thing, if you are not upholding the basic principles of sports, again, this goes beyond basketball. We are talking about the basic principles of sports. It's competition. And so if you are not upholding that, to me, you are lacking integrity for the game. LeBron James, obviously is lacking integrity for the game. So again, he's tried to demand his respect. He's trying to buy his respect with Clutch Sports by being able to try to control the media and control the narrative. But at the end of the day, LeBron James has not earned the respect that he wants by any stretch of the imagination. So let's talk about the flopping for a minute. And I'm bringing this up. We talk about this all the time, but I'm actually bringing this up because, again, I was just watching some AOH. I feel like I've been saying that a lot in the past few videos, but I was watching some AOH, and he actually was doing a reaction video to Commissioner Dynamo. And within this video, platinum member of the CFL, Gilbert Arenas, said something on there that I really had to do a double take to make sure that, Gilbert Arenas has said a lot of completely, utterly ridiculous things. And I don't know the motive behind Gilbert Arenas, but he said ridiculous things. But this is one of the most ridiculous things I've heard. Gilbert Arenas actually said flopping was a skill. This actually came out of his mouth. Gilbert Arenas said flopping is a skill. And so to that, I have to say, first of all, we all know flopping is both lying and cheating. But to that, I have to say, for you fanboys, here's a question for you. If there was a way that you could trick the referees, trick everybody into thinking you made a shot that you didn't actually make, would you guys be okay with that? Because this is essentially the same thing. If you are able to deceive the refs in a way, then that becomes okay with you. That's a skill. Let's say Magic, and I'm not talking about Magic the player. Let's say actual magic and wizardry existed. And somehow a player was able to trick everyone into thinking he made every shot he took. Is this a skill? Because this is what we're talking about. We are talking about trying to fool everyone, trying to fool the refs. And again, we're talking about LeBron James. Like I said, when he was in Miami, there was a flop he did, and he actually got up and winked at the camera. That was another defining moment for me that lowered my respect level for LeBron James. Because I'm like, okay, not only are you flopping, but you are confirming that that you are being purposefully deceitful. You know this. So that was another defining moment for me when I saw LeBron do that. When I saw him flop and then wink at the camera. To me, what can we say about somebody like this? What can you say? Hey, fanboys, how can you support a person like this? I really want to know you guys' logic behind supporting this kind of behavior. Like, I really would like to know. I know I'm a hater. I know we're all haters who call out the foolishness of LeBron. But if any of you had a reasonable explanation of why this is acceptable to you. That's what I want to know. I don't care if you want to explain to me why he does it or blah, blah. Explain to me why it's acceptable to you. But anyway, so yeah, flopping, obviously another low integrity thing, because like I said, just in theory, hypothetically, if you could fool the refs into, like thinking that you made every shot, if there was a way to fool the refs into thinking that you never foul, except for the fact that LeBron James never plays defense, so how could he foul? But it plays on this whole thing of, if being deceitful within the game, and how is that acceptable? So again, LeBron James has not earned the respect. Matter of fact, he's earned the opposite. Now, let's talk about Michael Jordan and why Michael Jordan is, arguably the most respected player to ever touch a basketball, the most revered, the most feared player to ever touch a basketball. And this is because, and we've said this many times, this is not new information. Michael Jordan, not only did he overcome challenges, but Michael Jordan, I was thinking about this the other day. Michael Jordan literally carried himself like he was the tallest man on the court. By the way he carried himself. And this is the way it felt to the fans. And what I mean by that is Michael Jordan dominated everyone on the court. He dominated the 7-footers. This is what's so amazing, is when you go back and watch the highlights, there is no other player that you can pull up. Not even Vince Carter. And Vince Carter has, some of the greatest dunks ever. But that has the sheer volume of a player dunking on 7-footers as Michael Jordan. If anybody knows a highlight reel like that, please drop it in the comments or tell me about it in the comments. But there is no other player that has the sheer volume of posters on big men, on 7-footers, on 6'10", 6'11". And this is because Michael Jordan, not only was he fearless, it went beyond fearless. Like I said, to me, Michael Jordan literally carried himself like he was the biggest, baddest person on the court. Like he was 8 feet tall. This is how he carried himself. And so it wasn't like Michael Jordan was just picking on the little guy and front running and doing that kind of thing. Michael Jordan said, hey, I don't care if you are 5'2", like Muggsy Bogues, or if you are what? How tall was Manute Bol? 7'6", something like that? 7'8", maybe? I can't remember. But yeah, Michael Jordan, he didn't discriminate with his dominance. His dominance was not conditional, like some people. And this brings us to, I have to bring this up. Jason Terry. The reason I'm bringing this up is because that highlight of LeBron James dunking on Jason Terry and knocking him down, I think it was on an alley-oop from, I don't know, maybe it was Wade. I can't remember who threw him the alley. But LeBron James, and maybe it was actually after the Miami years. I don't know. I should have watched it right before doing this video. But anyway, the dunk on Jason Terry, we all know what we're talking about. The dunk where he caught the alley on the fast break and knocked Jason Terry down and looked as if he had just dunked on somebody 8 feet tall. To me, LeBron James, that dunk on Jason Terry did not make up for 2011. And while we are speaking of it, this is another thing with LeBron James. The so-called bigger, stronger, faster player that, man, surprisingly has a lack of posters. And especially a lack of posters on big men. I'm not saying we haven't ever seen LeBron James dunk on big men, but it's rare to see LeBron James actually posterize a true big man. You know, most of LeBron James dunks, due to the era, are wide open, you know, or it's him showboating on somebody much smaller than him. But he doesn't have that dominance like Michael Jordan. You know, LeBron James carries himself like he's 6'5" or something. You know, Michael Jordan carried himself like he was 8 feet tall. But LeBron James, again, it's the front running mentality which is not respected. The front running mentality is not respected. Again, going back to The Last Dance, when Michael Jordan's sitting there in the locker room and smoking a cigar, holding the bat, and he says, let's see if that trash talk starts when it's 0-0 instead of when you're ahead, you know, 10 points or something. You know, basically saying, again, stop being a front runner. Stop talking trash when you're ahead. LeBron James, stop puffing out your chest when you're in the lead. You know, if you can't do that from the beginning of the game, if you can't do that when you're behind because you have the mentality like Michael Jordan that, hey, I always feel like I can win. And you've demonstrated it over and over again. You have the reputation for when a player, you know, maybe your team is down and a player from the other team trash talk you, and then you just miraculously come back, you know, and show them why they shouldn't trash talk you. Unless you have that kind of mentality, I don't want to see that replay of you dunking on Jason Terry. Every time I see that play, it just reminds me of how much of a front runner LeBron James is. It reminds me of how much of a bully type mentality he has for those, you know, again, with the thing is with bullies, if you knew them in school, bullies only bully those they know they can get away with it on. They only bully those they know they can get away with it on. They won't actually bully somebody who they think it might be a problem for them. And this is the LeBron James mentality. This is another reason why LeBron James does not get the respect that he wants and that you fanboys want for him. And then, you know, again, we're talking about the difference in eras and the difference in mentalities. Not only did Michael Jordan dominate the big man, but he dominated at a time where the attitude in the game was much more fierce. So it wasn't. Let me sidetrack for a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I can't stand Joel Embiid. I've been trying to give this guy the benefit of the doubt for years, but I can't stand Joel Embiid. Like he's like a big softy. Again, I think I said this on the video earlier, but you know, game in the Olympics, you know, against this last game, you know, he got a dunk that was pretty much wide open, and somehow he wound up on the floor. And the only thing I could think into my mind is he had already committed to flopping. Like he in his mind, he had already committed to flopping on this dunk. So when he dunked and it happened to be wide open, like he was already committed to it. So once the dunk was over, he still wound up rolling on the floor. And I was just thinking, like, man, come on, man. Come on, Joel Embiid. Like, you the biggest guy out there, man. I mean, you look ridiculous. Number one, this is neither here nor there. But, I mean, this guy gets no lift on his dunks. I mean, he has the most unimpressive looking dunks. To be so big, like Shaq used to have impressive looking dunks. You know, Shaq used to have impressive, intimidating, dominating looking dunks. But Joel Embiid, oh my goodness. Anyway, but yeah, Michael Jordan dominated. Like I said, it wasn't just about the fact that he got the posterizations on these 7-footers, but it was like I said, it's the fact that, you know, he treated them like they were his size or smaller. It's the fact that he did this in an era where the attitude in the NBA was much different. Like, it wasn't all these soft people. It wasn't all these soft, sensitive players. Because not only are these players soft, but they're sensitive as well. So, you got somebody like Draymond, who's obviously been out of control the past couple of years, getting into, fight after fight and whatnot. But this is not because Draymond is a tough guy. This is because Draymond is a sensitive guy. There's a difference. He's not like tough like Charles Oakley. Like, I think Charles Oakley would slap the fire out of Draymond Green. Like Rick Mahorn and people like that, Draymond would quit the NBA. Draymond is not a tough guy. He's a sensitive guy who lets his emotions take over. And this is why he winds up doing the things. Again, another bully type character, similar to LeBron. To me, he'll only do it to people he can get away with that on. But yeah, Michael Jordan was doing this, like I said, when the attitude in the NBA was much different. It was much different, and people really would teach you a lesson. The whole Detroit Piston rules, to go through that, having people foul you in a way that could potentially injure you, that could potentially give you a career-ending injury, and to still have just to be unshakable. It's like, okay, you did this, I'm going back to the hole the very next play. Like I didn't get the message. If the message that you were trying to send was don't come to the hole, I didn't get it. Matter of fact, I'm incapable of getting that message. Like, you can't intimidate me like that. So yeah, for Michael Jordan to do that in that era with with the Oakleys of the world and the Xavier McDaniels and the Masons, and people forget about people like Larry Johnson, who was another bigger guy, at least heftier guy for his position. Charles Barkley, Buck Williams, and people like that. Buck Williams, Jerome Kersey. It was just so many more imposing, no nonsense type players back then. And so for Michael Jordan, like I said, to have that fearlessness, that like his respect was earned, and it was earned not only because he was fearless, not only because he was super skilled and super creative and doing things that we had never saw, but because he never cheated the game or the fans. And this is something that none of the modern players that I can think of can have a claim to. Michael Jordan never cheated the game or the fans. Michael Jordan gave the fans their money's worth, and he felt obligated to give the fans their money's worth. There was no low management. Again, there was no taking it easy in this game because it's not as important, or taking it easy in the in the regular season so I can save my energy for the playoffs. There was no taking it easy in practice. Again, I keep harping on this, and I harp on this, like I said, mostly for the younger people who watch my channel to understand, like this. I remember what we used to say, back in our day and I'm sure this has probably been a saying for, maybe since the beginning of time in some form or another. But, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. This is the mentality of Michael Jordan. Again, all that activate playoff mode, it's not respectable. It's not respectable. Another thing, with these players and the podcast, that these players need to be so involved in the narratives around themselves. Also, again, it's not respectable to me. It's especially during the regular season. Why do you have a podcast? Because on this podcast, most of these players talk about stuff that diminish the past, which again shows you have a lack of integrity and you have a lack of respect, which is another thing. If you're not going to respect somebody, don't expect to get that in return. If you don't have the understanding to understand that the players of the past are the very reason that you are in the position that you are in, I mean, that is something that is really interesting and, puzzling to me. And if you're a true fan of basketball, which we know that LeBron James fanboys are not. LeBron James fanboys, you guys are not. Let me tell you something. Anybody who hopped on this, we done with the 90s train or done with the 80s train, I don't care if you're in the NBA. You are not a true fan of basketball. If you have such little awareness to understand that the players who came before you helped set the table for you to be able to eat, you are not a true fan of basketball, period. I can say that with the utmost confidence. Again, Michael Jordan, he always had respect. And do I believe Michael Jordan himself believes he's the best ever? I don't know if I actually believe that. What I actually believe about Michael Jordan is he believes he can win against anybody. But it's all about perspective and how you look at it. I don't think Michael Jordan sees himself as the greatest ever in that sense. But I do think anytime he steps on the court, he feels like he can beat any player. But to me, this goes back to what I'm saying about, I think Michael Jordan's journey was a very streamlined journey, and that is, he is only focused on winning all the time. Like, I want to win in practice, I want to win in the regular season, I want to win in the playoffs. And he was not thinking about this long-term legacy thing about how's this. Again, Michael Jordan has said it, if I was playing for stats so that, then I would have never retired. If I was playing for these other things, I would have never retired. But Michael Jordan was simply focused on winning. So from a standpoint of him thinking he could beat anybody at any given time, yes, I believe that. But I don't believe he looked at it in the same way of, I'm the greatest of all time. I think he thought, hey, I can beat anybody. But I don't think Michael Jordan actually, and I think this is why he always answered the question the way he answered. And I don't even necessarily think is about even trying to be humble. I think Michael Jordan actually believes that, hey, if I can't play you, if I never got to play Wilt and Jerry West and Oscar and all of these players and Elgin, and if I never got a chance to play against them, it is disrespectful for me to say I can definitively beat them. I believe Michael Jordan really believed that if I can't play, if I don't have the opportunity to play you, then I can't definitively say that. So, but anyway, the point is Michael Jordan has always had that respect for the players of the past. We can see Dr. J's game in Michael Jordan. Even though Michael Jordan's on a whole nother level, you can definitely tell that he has watched Dr. J. What's the guy that introduced him into the Hall of Fame? What's this player's name? Slipping my mind at the moment. But the player who introduced Michael Jordan into the Hall of Fame, if you go watch him, you can tell that Michael Jordan got some stuff from it, including, I think that Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan's first step looks very similar to this guy. But anyway, like I said, Michael Jordan has always respected the game. And to me, that is another thing that contributes to why people respect him. Another thing, this is kind of my own personal opinion, but Michael Jordan just sounds more respectable when he talks. When you hear Michael Jordan talk in an interview, you always feel like he's not only saying something insightful, but he's also being sincere. For the most part, he always seems like he takes a moment for the reporters and tries his best to be engaged with them. Whereas LeBron James, oh my goodness, man, this guy, again, the only things that he says insightful is because he got it from Michael Jordan or he got it from some other player. Like LeBron's a politician again. He's the I know the correct thing to say, but even the way he says a lot of stuff, number one, you can tell he doesn't believe it. And number two, even if you can't tell he doesn't believe it just by how he talks, you can watch the way he plays and know that he doesn't believe it. Fanboys, go cry in the corner. We don't care. But yeah, LeBron James has said some of the least insightful things. Again, I just heard, who was I watching? I was watching one of the media shows the other day, and again they keep referring to him as I was watching Skip Bayless, and this had to be yesterday. It was on the Skip Bayless podcast, and of course we know he's already gone from FS1, so I was like, yeah, let me check out Skip for a minute and kind of see if he addresses the FS1 stuff a little bit and see what he's talking about. And he starts talking about LeBron, and again he says LeBron James has the highest IQ of any basketball player. I'm pretty sure he might have said any basketball player ever. But again, this is puzzling to me, how you can watch this guy play, how you can watch the decisions he make on the court and put him in that category of high IQ. But anyway, regardless of what you think his IQ is on the court, when he talks, it doesn't show. If you think LeBron James has a high IQ, when he talks, it sure doesn't show. Again, some of the stuff he said, number one, we just talk about the endless excuses that he makes, but some of the things that he has said, even like I said, there's one interview I saw with him, or maybe it was a podcast, but talking about you should always switch on screens. I'm like, where's the thought process behind that? To me, there's nothing that you should always do in basketball except giving your maximum effort. LeBron James, that's something you should always do. That should be an always for you. But always switch on screens, I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, there should be times where you switch on screens, but there should definitely be times where you fight through the screens or fight over the screens. When he says stuff like that, this is to me how you know that his IQ is not what people make it out to be. And then the other thing is this. He's all-time leading in turnovers. So, fanboys, maybe you can help us out with this. Maybe you can help us out with this question. I'm pretty sure I asked this on the video I did about questions fanboys don't want to answer, but I'm gonna bring it up again. If you have the highest basketball IQ of any player ever, and you always make the right play, always. This is what LeBron has said. He always makes the right play. How could you possibly, even if you've played the longest amount of time, be leading in turnovers? That just does not add up. It doesn't add up, fanboys. Not by a long shot. So yeah, this overrated IQ of LeBron James, I forgot where I was going with this, but at the end of the day, it goes back to why LeBron James will never be respected in the same way that Michael Jordan is respected. Again, we just watched the clip with Bobby Knight, and Bobby Knight said, the legendary Bobby Knight said that not only was Michael Jordan better than everybody else, but he said he was smarter and tougher than everybody else. So yeah, to me, Michael Jordan, he earned that respect through the willingness to overcome any obstacle, through the carrying himself like he was the tallest guy on the court at all times, through his fearlessness, through his dominating an era, like I said, where the whole attitude of basketball was different, where tough guys were actual tough guys and not these super soft sensitive guys that they have now. So, but anyway, I could go on. But yeah, LeBron James will never, ever in his life receive the kind of respect that Michael Jordan has. And like I said, and for that matter, for the Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, like he will never see that kind of respect, because that kind of respect has to be earned. You can't buy it, you know, and you can't demand it. You can't just tell people to respect you and have it happen. And you know, if you haven't done anything respectable that people feels like, you know, that they should respect you, you're not gonna get that respect. And LeBron James has just done multiple things in his career to show that he doesn't respect the game of basketball. That's really what it comes down to. LeBron James has shown that he doesn't respect the game of basketball. He doesn't respect the foundation of sports, and that being competition. You know, he doesn't respect the game enough to truly be fundamentally sound in every way possible. He doesn't respect the game enough to feel like he owes the fans. You know, the fans is part of the game. It's part of the reason why you get to make this money. And, you know, it's the reason why you get to live the lifestyle that you live. You know, so, yeah, LeBron James has not earned the respect. And he's passed that lack of respect for the game down through the generations. You know, he's infected the NBA with this lack of respect for the game. And so, you know, we're going to see what happens with USA against France. But I'm here to tell you, fanboys, if the USA does not win gold, you guys should stay off my channel. If the USA does not win gold, just go ahead and stay off my channel. But anyway, we are going to hold up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.